State your name and where you from.
My name is Alfie, aka Alf Capone. I'm from Venice.
Did any of the homies from Showline that was selling drugs end up getting turned on to crack or end up start doing crack?
Yeah, I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
What made you? What was...
You know what's so crazy is like I was a young dude, man. And I was, when the Featherstones and the Ware, Detroit Ware and all them dudes was out, I was trying to run up under their crew. So they used to have parties and shit, you know what I mean? And in these parties, like you would go in a room, they have a plate of powder on the table, you know what I mean? You got the other folks over there smoking Primos, other folks in the room doing this and that. That was just how it was back then. Like, there was even a time in our neighborhood where it was cool to smoke Primos. Like, homies and homegirls would walk around smoking Primos. Like, you know what I mean? That was just shit they
Primos,
did.
Cigarettes, crack,
yeah, cracking weed or cigarettes, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think what done it for me because I wanted to fit in, you know what I mean? So I sniffed some powder a couple of times, not knowing that the shit was, that it would become habit forming like it did.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it did. It crept up on me, man, and it took me out. I was cracked out at one time in my life. You know what I mean?
Well, what time frame? 90s, 80s?
No, all the 80s I was having a bunch of bread, and I went out. I started going to jail a lot. You know what I mean? Started going to jail a lot. So let me go back a little bit, because see, when you start fucking with that shit, then you're not knowing that it's become habit forming. So now you in and out of jail, and it's different because you're not accumulating no money, but you still got that habit. You feel what I'm saying? So now it's the habit then got bigger, because now the hustle ain't there. Like you go through 3 or 4 years, get out, the homies give you a sack, you go chip off a rock or something, make your primo. You still trying to get back into things like you thought they was when you left, and before you look up, you out here ass backwards. Like, you know what I mean? So I would say for me, what really hit for me when I done 6 years one time, and I got out. I did good for a little while. I stayed out like 9 months, but like the last 2 months of that 9 months, I started fucking up. You know what I mean? That's why I went back to jail. I got a violation, went back to jail, and then I was doing violations and getting out, doing violations, getting out. You know what I mean? I only became homeless out there before. Yeah.
And was that because of being addicted to crack, or did you become homeless because of being?
No, you know what's so crazy? When I became homeless, that was in 2016, man. I was living not too long ago. Yeah, I was living in this place. The homie had not a boarding home, but he had a house. He had a house with a bunch of rooms, and I was renting a room from him. They had just passed a law for it to be legal to grow weed in Colorado. Now it's this cat. It's one of the homies' cousins named B. He used to own part of Killer Shrimp. So I was supposed to move out there with him. You know what I mean? So I told the homie I'm moving out, gave my last little rent. My truck had broke down on me. He told me, man, sell the truck. We finna get some bread. You know what I mean? So right before I was supposed to go out there move in with him, he had a club. A guy gets killed in front of his club, so they kind of shut him down. So like, man, I can't bring you out there now. My money's fucked up. They done shut me down, this, that, and the other. I'm like, but damn, I done already made these arrangements. I got to move out. The dude already got somebody moving in. So I moved down here with my auntie. And my auntie, she was older, you know what I mean? So it's like 6 a.m, she up, listening to the gospel, you know what I mean? And cooking and cleaning is like, what you gonna do today? You gonna find a job? Like, I ain't gonna find no job. Like, you know what I mean? So I would get up early in the morning and go outside and just hang out. By now this time, it done been so gentrified out here, ain't nobody really hanging out. So I'm like, damn, the only place everybody was at was on 3rd and Rose. You feel me? So like, I would go over there and hang out, sell a little shit, make a little money, you know what I mean? And I was smoking a little bit then, you know what I mean? After a while, trying to play the cat and mouse game with her, I was just like, fuck it, I just moved out there. Like, there was a few homies out there, they told me the ropes, so I just moved out there, you know what I mean?
On 3rd and Rose?
Yeah, I moved out there. I would say the crack played a big part of my thinking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
My rationalization, because I became cool with just, fuck it, I'm out here, they out here, I'm out here, like, you know what I mean? Like, all right, I ain't got no responsibility. All I gotta do is worry about wash my ass and give me some food. That's it.
So one person would think, I feel, especially if you were in that game making money off of it, you would be more hyper alert not to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. So how did it happen? What happened to make you go in that direction?
I would say curiosity, you know what I mean? And it's crazy because it's dudes that I know that had way more money than I did. Like, I'm talking about major ballers, and when I first got into the game, my mom, she came to give me one day, and I stayed in the apartment. She's like, I want you to come home. I'm like, man, I ain't coming home. Like, I got my own apartment. I got Cadillac, I got a lowrider. Yeah, I got a couple of Cadillacs in front of the house. I got all the jewelry, all this money. Come home. Are you serious? Like, so she's like, man, there's only 3 ways out this shit: jail, own that shit, or death. You know what I mean? And you would never think, man, like, I never thought of my wildest dreams I ever used though. That just wasn't me. Like, I used to smoke a little weed, drink, smoke sherm every now and then, but crack and shit like that, I never thought that would happen to me. But It did, and there's a lot of other ones that it happened to. Like, you know what I mean? And it's like, I'm talking about like major ballers in the hood. They was out there with no shoes on and all kind of shit. I'm like, wow. You know what I mean? But my shit happened to me later on in life. That's what kind of blew me for a loop. But and I also think a lot of my usage came in the end, like from like 2016 on, was because I had a lot of heartache. You know what I mean? I lost my grandparents and I was just fucked up, like inside. It's not really an excuse, but it just I was at the point where I didn't care about myself. I didn't give a fuck about myself, so it just really didn't matter. You know what I mean? Because dope doesn't change anything.
Yeah.
It doesn't make anything better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It just keeps you fucked up.
What did it make you feel when you were on it?
The first time, I'm gonna be truthful with you. The first time I ever smoked crack, it was, I'm gonna say, one of the most amazing feelings I ever had in my life. My ears opened up. I heard shit for 2 or 3 blocks. I felt a tingling sensation all over my body, and that's what thing about crack. Everybody that uses crack, they always trying to chase that first sensation that they had. You know what I mean? And that's the crazy part about it. You chasing the ghost, because you never get that same feeling back. Yeah. Never, ever again in life.
So how hard was it to kick the habit and get clean?
Well, I've been clean now 19 months, almost 20 months. It's a lot of mind over matter shit. It's really centered in your thinking, because it don't do shit for you. You scared of everything. You smoking dope and you think shit is behind you and all, like, you know what I mean? Like, it's not as crazy. It's insanity. To come from where I come from, even the background I came from, for me to be living on the streets was a total disgrace to me. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my kids come over there and see me, like, that shit wasn't a cool feeling. And the only excuse I had for them was argument when they came. Get your ass from over here. You want to get down? Like, you know, I'm talking to my kids like that. Like, you know what I mean? They like, damn, Pop's tripping. Like, you know what I mean? But I'm so fucked up inside, that's all I could do. Just get away from me. Like, I mean? And I just decided, man, this ain't me, and this ain't what I need to be doing. And so when this time around, it wasn't hard. As opposed to before, jail would save me a lot. I would go back and forth from violations, go to jail, and, you know, I was just going to jail and getting some rest. I wasn't getting no recovery. I wasn't getting no NA. They had NA class shit. I wasn't going to that shit. I was squares. I was going there, working out, getting my size back, and coming on home thinking I'm just going to smoke weed and drink, and that's it. Now I don't do none of that shit. You know what I mean? Drink a lot of water.
No drinking, no smoking, nothing.
A lot of water. You know what I mean? Like, and that's what's been working for me, bro. I go places, I'm just like, you can drink, like I might can, but I'm not gonna take that chance to find out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I got too much to lose.
Yeah.
I've acquired some stuff now in the last 19 months that I've been straight that I ain't had in years of my life, and I ain't gonna trade that shit. Not for no high. You know what I mean? I ain't doing it.
So, did you ever end up doing any drugs in prison?
No. You know what's crazy about prison? All I do in prison is I smoke weed and drink Pruno. You know what I mean? And work out all day long. You know, I used to have the weed, and I had a partner that used to make Pruno, so I was giving weed for Pruno. I just drunk Pruno and shit all day. But I never get all drunk and crazy and shit like that. Because I was always in like level 4s and high security prison, so I never was out there trying to be drunk and tripping like that. Like, you know, I'm get killed and shit like that in jail. You know.
You seen people get killed like that?
Yeah, I see people get killed. I seen people get killed over dope. Getting them dope debts, like, you know what I mean? You done accumulated $2 or $3 worth of dope, and then you think your family gonna pay for it, and then your girl like, man, I'm not sending no more money. She don't know these dudes finna stab your ass up. You know what I mean? I done seen dudes OD in jail and all that. You know what I mean? A lot of essays, you know what I mean, don't knock to them, but like they keep that heroin going with them a lot in jail. Like, and I done seen some dudes die off of that shit. I done seen some dudes get killed by incurring debts and not being able to pay them and all that shit. Raped and all that shit beyond not being able to pay that money for that shit. Yeah, it's not, you know, jail is not. There ain't no place to do none of that shit. When you first get to prison, your homies will tell you that, I mean, don't be on no dope, don't mess with no fags, you know what I'm saying, no telling, and stay down for whatever comes against you. You know what I mean? And I stuck to that shit. Don't be gambling if you ain't got no money, period. You know what I mean? And don't cross jig with motherfuckers that you know we don't deal with. You know what I mean? Like, cause it's, even though we black and you being in prison, it's like they got the up north car and different cars and, you know, different prison gangs, BJFs and all that. Like, you don't deal with them type of people. You stay strictly to what we know. You know what I mean? And you'll be all right.
How long have you been out of prison now then?
By the grace of God, man, November the 5th will be 16 years.
16 years.
As long as I done stayed out ever. And that's crazy because when I came home this time, I had a lot to prove to myself. You know what I mean? I was, you know, I've been just, man, from 17 to 35, it was just jail. In and out of jail, just bullshit. In and out of jail. Get out. Same day I get out, I go to the hood, get a pistol, get a sack, and go on the block. Like, I ain't, you know, went home, got some food from my mom, seen them. I might not go home for 3 days. She's like, damn, you know what I mean? Fuck, we done took care of this whole 3 or 4 years we've been going. That's how you do us. So it's like when I came home this time, I had a lot to prove to myself, as you know what I mean, just to see where I was at as a man, and you know, I got was standing in for Venice 2000. They gave me a job when I got out. I was a teacher at the school called View Park Prep, and that parlayed into me working in the oil refining. And that oil refining, I made some of the best money I ever made in my life. You know what I mean? I got me an apartment. Huh?
Better than crack?
Almost. You know what I mean? You know, they got some jobs. You work 72 hours a week, man. And if you get a high enough pay rate, I think the highest check I got working in the oil refining was probably like $2,500 in 1 week. We got paid every week, so you do the math, you know what I mean? So I was doing all right. I had a couple of cars. I had a cousin that was still allowing me to, you know, you wanted something, you know, you wanted something for a big enough price, I'll go get it for you, but for rocks and shit, like, nah, but I'll go get you a half bird or something like that, you know what I mean? Make me $500-$600, and shit just, it did good for me for a while. Then I got laid off from there. You know what I mean? And shit, then I started getting back in the streets because, you know, I still have bills to pay and shit like that. And after my little bank account ran out, I was hustling again and all that shit, and shit started going bad for me again. This 16 years, it been like a roller coaster up and down, you know what I mean? But I done came out on the other end of it now, and I guess I'm hoping these next 16 years I can stay this way. Yeah. I only got one day at a time.
Yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
What do you feel like was the lowest point in your life then?
When I was homeless.
When you're homeless.
Yeah. And I don't think it was not just the fact that I was homeless, but it was the fact that people who I'd done a lot of shit for in my life wouldn't even come off me or come see, hey man, what's up? You need something? You want to take a bath? You want some food? When I first got over there, it was like Crenshaw. People was just hitting the block just to make sure that he really over there. He really over there. Like, you know what I mean? Wasn't nobody stopping, but they coming trying to take pictures of me, all kind of crazy shit. But nobody was really stopping to see what was going on with me. You know what I mean?
Basically, they didn't really give a fuck.
They didn't give a fuck. Just that was out there. You know what I mean? A few homies would stop and pull up on me and then holler, you know, still treat me the same. You know, like Black Capone. I would always have love for him because he always treated me the same way. Like Baby Tay-Dog, you know what I mean? Dudes like that, Big Airhead, they still treated me the same. Like, you know what I mean? Like they didn't treat me no differently, you know? But, you know, you had other ones that just looked at you like you was crazy, or I had something to say or talk about you, like, you know. But then some of them be like, treat me that way in front of them, then I walk away with some other shit. And that's when you find out really how much people have envied you, you know what I mean, when shit like that happens, because it's even now, like they waiting for me to fuck up. Like I go on third every week and I feed. I go back over there so that I can see where I came from, you know what I mean? And so, you know, then when I first go over there, like, what you doing over here? Like, nah, ain't not what you think I'm doing over here, like, you know what I mean? I got flyers over there, I've been ready to pass out and having a barbecue for them this weekend. But that was the lowest point of my life, man.
At the lowest point in your life, did you feel like there was many people that had your back, or do you feel like you was really out here on your own?
I feel like I was really out here on my own. In all fairness to some of the people that might have wanted to be there for me, I was in a rage all the time. Once I've seen how people were driving through here to see if I was really out there and shit like that, then I became angry at everybody. So everybody was fuck you, like, you know what I mean? So the people who might have wanted to have my back, I didn't open myself up to that. You know what I mean? I'm like, well, I don't need nobody. I do this shit on my own. I'm a survivor. I know how to get out.
Did being homeless change the way you thought of yourself?
Yeah, it did. How? It did, because it made me. I had battles with myself. There's an old saying that says that a soldier's biggest war would be with himself. Like, you know what I mean? And that's what I was doing. I would sit out there on the streets, and I knew I could do better. And what's crazy is that I look at everything from a spiritual aspect now, because even when I was on the streets, I always kept a connection with God. Like, you know, I was raised in church. I was a Muslim for a little while from coming out of prison, but I always kept a spiritual connection with God. And that's what got me through on the streets. I never felt that I was going to stay there forever. There's a lot of people that I reached when I was out there. You know, sometimes God will sit you down and put you in different places for you to reach somebody else, and you don't even know why, though, because it's somebody that I brought up out of that place with me. You know what I mean? Somebody I was dealing with. I'm not dealing with her anymore, but she had been out there, and I don't know, she probably was going to die if I left her out there. So I look at that, too, because I used to ask myself the same question, like, why the fuck this happened to me? And I would see other homies. You know what's bad when you out on the streets and people that are homeless tell you that you don't belong out there. That's the shit that they should tell me, like, man, you don't even belong out here, man. Yeah. But I was like, fuck it, because in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. And I felt like I got a little hustle still left in me, so I'm doing better than y'all. So I think it was like a boosting my morale sometimes, like my moral compass, because I was looked up to out there. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I think in some aspects that's what helped me get back on my feet, because I started to recognize the value of me again. At one point, like I said, I didn't give a fuck where I lived or died.
How long were you homeless for?
I was homeless for 2016, almost 3 years. Wow. And all fairness to my parents, like my mom had told me, man, just come home. I'm like, I don't want to come home. I don't need nobody. You know what I mean? But that was addiction talking to me. I wanted to stay out here and keep on doing what I was doing. I don't want to go to your house and then have to sneak out and shit like that. Like, this is what I'm fucking doing. It's real easy to get comfortable on them streets, man. That's why a lot of people that are out here, don't want to come indoors. You know what I mean? I don't know what it is about I guess the not the responsibility that you don't have or what, because there's a lot of people out there that you can give them an apartment to right now. They're not going to even stay in it. They'll stay right back out there on the street. Yeah, it's crazy.
Well, during that whole time where you was for almost 3 years that you were homeless, were you always using drugs?
I was always using drugs, selling them and selling them to keep my habit going, and buy clothes every now and then. I never was the type of person that would be ass raggedy, funky and dirty and shit like that. I stayed going to Ross. I might have lost 70 pounds, you know what I mean, head big as hell. And I would still go around the homies about my shit and talk crazy to everybody and all that, In my mind, I'm still the same old Alfie, but shit, I was weighing like 160 pounds. Now, that was the only telltale sign. Other than that, I was trying to keep my clothes and my gear up, but, all that was a front, because inside I was dead like a motherfucker.
Yeah. You feel alive again?
Man, I ain't no greater joy than what I got right now. I said I wouldn't trade this shit for all the tea in China. You know what I'm talking about? Man, I'm so happy. I got a grandbaby. I got 2 grandbabies. I just had a granddaughter a couple of weeks ago. Like, these are the type of things. Like, I'm trying to put funds and shit together for them. So when I go, I can leave them something besides some memories. Like, you know what I mean? Like, my mind state is a whole lot different than it was back then. I turned 51 this year, you know what I mean? First of all, I never thought I'd live to be this old. A lot of my homeboys was getting killed 16, 17, 18, 25, you know what I mean? I even got shot myself. When I turned 50, it really done something to me. It turned the light on in my head. The Bible says it's 3 scores and 10, which is 70 years. So I'm figuring, okay, if that's right, I got 20 years left. I want to do a whole lot of shit in this 20 years, like, you know what I mean? Because I did a whole lot of fucking off on this first 50. I try to keep that in front of me, but I feel alive, and I'd be happy to wake up in the morning and look at myself, Yeah.
When did that change? When did you start feeling life again and feeling just happy?
Friday, September the 13th, 2019.
2019.
That's when I made a conscious decision to get up off my ass and go do something myself. I woke up one morning, and a dude from St. Joseph named Carlos Rodriguez, he came. He used to always try to come get me, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna go next week. Talked to him the day before, you know what I mean? He said, I'll be there at 5 in the morning. Pulled up at my tent. I was sitting out there waiting on him. And when I got in the car, I just cried. Like, my floodgates opened up, and I just cried all the way. He took me to Pomona. I just cried all the way to Pomona. And I knew then that something was going on inside of me, because I couldn't even stop it. The shit was just, he was just patting me like, let it out, let it out. I'm like, fuck, let it out. Why is this shit happening? Why am I crying like this? That was like God, like he was releasing all that bullshit from me.
Exhale.
Yeah, the exhale, the big exhale. And I remember that day like it was yesterday. And I never felt like that before. It's like I cleansed it.
Well?
Yeah, he took me to I was on my way to a detox. Okay. He came and picked me up and took me to a detox.
How hard was that detox?
It wasn't hard at all.
Okay.
It wasn't hard. The first couple of days, I slept all day, ate peanut butter and jelly sandwiches all night, and I prayed. You know what I mean? I stayed in detox, and it's crazy because I stayed in detox for 7 days, from Friday the 13th to the next Friday, which was the 20th. And I came back because they wasn't going to have my bed ready at the live-in program I was going to until that Monday. So I went back on third for those 3 days. Didn't use anything, didn't pick up anything. The girl I was dealing with, I was telling her, look, this shit can be done. Like, you know what I mean? I only been gone 7 days. You can do this shit. We fought. I took her shit from her. She scratched my face up, all that. But then I left again on that Monday, you know what I mean, and left her out there. But on that Wednesday, she came and got herself together. So like I say, sometimes you never know what God got in store for you. Sometimes your life might not even be your life, man. He put you in other people's paths. Because like she told me before, like I know I wouldn't have made it out there without you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And that wasn't the goal I met when I went out there. Like, you know what I mean? I never in my life would just deal with somebody that's on the streets. That wasn't me. I'm used to top flights. Yeah. But it happened like that. One of the most fucked up components about being from any neighborhood is that you're gonna breed some type of envy somewhere in life. No matter just for being yourself. Like, you know, I ain't never done nobody wrong or nothing, but you know, sometimes people can hate you for the way other people love you. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes people will love to see you on your back because it makes them feel better for whatever situation, whatever reason. Like it's not making their bills go away, it's not making the problems in the household go away, but they love to see you down. Yeah. And that's a sickness. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's a sickness.
Yeah. In your opinion, how do you feel like black people as a culture can beat that sickness?
You know, I hate to say it, man, but that Willie Lynch letter, he done his work good, put it that way. He knew what he was doing when he done it. You know what I mean? I'm going to put it to you like this. I done been in prisons before where some blacks got into it. And they, you know, they didn't care to be like, hey, man, this dude tripping, this, that, and other. So I go to try to, you know, get in between the situation. And they're like, man, fuck that. He got to see me. We got to get down. Oh, fuck his dead homies. All, you know, just all the way just to, you know, we got to do that. Yeah. Okay, well, I'm going to, you know, make sure everything is fair. Y'all go do what y'all got to do. Now, in retrospect, they didn't want to listen. They didn't want to squash nothing. But then 2 days later, they get into some essays, and then they want to go talk about it. but you want to smash your brother yesterday though. You know what I mean? But you done got into this other cat. Now you want to go have a chess match and talk it out. Like, you know what I mean? He made it to the fact where like when you see a brother, like it's like you see an enemy. Like, you know what I mean? That's even what now. Most time you go on the street, you walk by a black dude, the first thing they do is want to mug you or something. You know, very rarely do they say, "Hey, what's up, brother?" You know what I mean? It's first you already on the defensive, looking to see what you know what I'm saying, what's happening with this fool. And that's crazy, man. I hate to say it, but it's gonna be to a point to where, just like in prison, we're gonna be forced into a situation where we had no other choice but to let that shit go and get together. And by that time, it's gonna be so many casualties, everybody gonna be dead. The ones that's left behind is gonna be the only ones that's able to make the structure rebuild itself. It's more black folks in them graveyards and the penitentiaries than anything, man. Black folks dying, man. We dying like a motherfucker. And if people don't really, you know, because it ain't really hit certain sections, like, you know what I mean, so they don't really see it, but over the grand scheme of things, we losing, bro. We losing. Like the culture got us all fucked up.
The black folks' demise is the white people's profit.
At all costs. They don't give a fuck about nothing. They giving you $1,400 here, $600 here on these stimulus checks, but they know they finna get all that money back in pills, lean, cars, and jewelry. Like, you know what I mean? So they don't care nothing about that. But, you know, even with that shit, like, nobody wants to come together. They done broke our trust with each other so much. So, right, if it's 7 of us and we all got a stimulus check, why don't we put something together and open up something? You know what I mean? That's almost $10,000 right there, bro. You know what I mean? Like, nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants to trust the next person. Or fuck it, I'm finna go do this and that and other with my money. You can't tell me what to do with my money. A lot of people don't see the threat of our existence being terminated. You know what I mean? They don't think that shit can really happen. You better look at the Mayans and all them type of people that came before us. Like, we can't be extinct. And they have already said that, science has already said that the next dominant race will be the mulattoes. That's us mixed with everything else. So that's what's happening.
You told me the hardest part of your life, or the most down. Can you tell me the best time of your life?
Shit, when I was a child.
When you were a child? When
I was a child. I mean, before we knew the difference between right and wrong, we used to go to the canals and you know, go shit like that, go up to the wetlands and go rabbit hunting and, you know, just simple shit. I remember as a kid, we used to go to the Venice swimming pool, right? Where Staples at? Yeah. There used to be a Winchell's right there. Donut place.
Oh, the donut. Oh, yeah. Okay.
And what they would do is they would cook, they make the donuts, they sit them in the window to cool off, right? So we leave the pool, and the window was right there. We just snatch a rack of donuts and run off. Like, you know, shit like that. Where Starbucks is at. There used to be a Kentucky Fried Chicken. See, this is, a lot of people from here, we the reason why some of these laws and shit and the way they do things change. We would go to Kentucky Fried Chicken, or the bucket of chicken, the fastest one out the crew, or you finna snatch that bucket of chicken and run up out of there. You know what I mean? Because you got to think, back then, moms and pops, they didn't have a whole lot of money, so we go swimming all day. We hungry as hell. And then not only that, we would go from yard to yard, and we would go, they got loquat trees, they got apple trees. We go to different places and eat off the land. They had the Boys and Girls Club. We had Melvin had, we had the Teen Post. You know, the Teen Post later on ended up being an art gallery. But we used to go in there and play pool and do all kind of other little shit. We go on field trips. The dances at Oakwood, we was growing up. The Uncle Jam's Army used to come out here. You know what I mean? Shit like that, man. You know, all that. It was fun, man. It was fun. You know, Oakwood, back in the day, they had outside, where the basketball court is now, there was a tennis court, and on the side of that, they used to have a heavy bass. We used to go out there and box and all that shit, man. Like growing up, like on Santa Clara, like apartment buildings, it was always something to do. Like it was inside apartment building. You never had to go outside the apartment building. We run up from first floor to third floor. Me and Aaron, so you know, we was kids, man. We was having fun, riding big wheels and doing all kind of shit. Like, you know what I mean? Just it was fun, man. Like, you know, we couldn't wait to go to sleep to wake up the next day just to have fun again. You know, and I remember.
Never be bored in Venice.
Huh?
Could never be bored.
What? How you gonna be bored in Venice unless you just, you know what I mean? Like, nobody just didn't like you or something. But there was always something to do, man. It was all, and if that wasn't enough, you can watch reality TV. The people that was out in the streets doing shit, like, you know what I mean? But it was always. I'm gonna put it to you like this: like on Saturday mornings, your moms and them knew. 9 times out of 10, you at Venice High, because that's when all the Power Warner games is going on. So the tiny mice played at 8 in the morning. The junior bottoms play like about 6 at night. So from 8 to 6, you sitting up there at Venice High all day long. And it just stands, just all of us is up there. Like, you know, the kids that couldn't play, that was too young to play, we playing tackle them, man, and running around eating chili willies all day. But we was at Venice High all fucking day long. You know what I mean? And then we would get on to number 2 and catch the bus back. You know what I mean? With no money. You know what I mean? Just hop on that motherfucker. You know what I'm talking about? I remember times getting on the bus when the buses was a quarter and I have like 7 pennies in my hand, just drop them in the thing and get on the bus. Like, you can't count them pennies. I don't know what that is, 25 cents. And not to mention coming out to the beach and that all them pretty girls come from all the other places, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Beach in the front yard. Yeah.
If you like this video, subscribe to GV Loco.
Anything else you want to tell the camera?
No, man, just follow my youngster, man. He's doing this shit out here for the community, man. So y'all make sure that y'all log in with him, GV Loco, man, and pay attention to what he's doing, man. You know what I mean? That's about it.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thank you. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.